but we are super excited to get this panel going. In full disclosure, I know that people have asked many times, what's the relationship between DM2O and PostcardMania? So my esteemed partner, and I guess part-time boss, Joy Gendusa, as a person, is an investor into Direct Mail 2.0, but PostcardMania is its own thing, and she's been doing this since 1998. Before that, Joy and I's history go back a little further even. We met in the early 90s. She actually worked for my father when we had a VHS distribution company, and she happened to be one of the best buyers, salespeople. Her and her then husband would travel around, and they beat all the records for that company at that time. So Joy has always been, even since her early, were you in your early 20s then?
No,
late 20s.
I was about 25. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's right. Because when I came into the company, I was about 22 or 23. Joy had just left to have her gorgeous little firstborn son, Zach, who I remember seeing when my daughter went to preschool years later. This was probably the late 90s. And he was this cutest little kid in the school. And he was Macaulay Culkin, but cuter, So anyways, enough gloating on that. It looks like we've got a good crowd in here. So Joy is the founder and CEO of PostcardMania. She's been doing that since 1998. We are going to start with Morgan. Morgan is our VP Sales and Marketing at Direct Mail 2.0, who most of you probably get emails from, maybe more than you like to, but that's the way it is. So Morgan's been here now, what, 4 years?
2018. 5
years? You're going on 5 years?
Going
wow.
On 5.
Okay.
A whole
Well
year.
done. She's had to put up with me for almost 5 years. Good. All right. So
somebody's got to do it.
Yes, and she's very, very good at putting up with me. Actually, so is Joy.
You know what, Brad? You're not that big of a handful.
No.
You're actually quite
That's
wonderful.
not what my wife says.
I agree.
Actually, the word she uses is annoying. I guess a lot of spouses will claim that of their other spouse or partner. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we're here to talk about marketing through an economic downturn. This is obviously very relevant today. I think that we're going to, within hours, if it hasn't happened already, have the announcement from the Federal Reserve that they're increasing interest rates again. That, obviously has an effect on all businesses and on all spending, because everybody's got debt and everybody gets affected by this. So, we're really here to discuss, how do you manage that? What do you really do? So Joy and I have had the pleasure or opportunity to have been through 3, maybe 4 of these things. Joy's a touch older than me, so she may remember 1991. I know that she was starting her business in early 2000s during that one, and obviously she was doing what she's doing in 2008, and here we are again in 2023 with another round. So we've got a lot of recessionary marketing experience happening here, and I want to let Morgan get started with a little bit of show and tell. She's got some great stats and things to show. So Morgan, over to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to lay a little bit of foundation here, and then we're going to turn it over to Joy. She's been so gracious to join us today, and she's got a ton of experience to share with us, and I'm really looking forward to that. So thank you, Joy.
You're welcome, Morgan, but I thought I was going to be asked questions. I don't have a presentation.
No, you are. You are, yes.
You are. Morgan has the presentation.
I'm like showing up.
No. Brad is going to ask questions for sure. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so first things first, a little bit of foundation here. Henry Ford said it best. Stopping advertising to save money is like stopping your watch to save time. Quite an impactful statement, in my opinion. Now, during an economic downturn, the best advice I could personally give you is to do not stop marketing. I know businesses are going to seek ways to cut costs, but marketing shouldn't be one of them. Think about it. If cash flow is tight and you remove the source that was driving leads and revenue, you will end up having even less working capital to run your business than you had before you cut the marketing. Now, There are also companies that will not only continue marketing, but will increase or even double their expenditures, waiting and ready to seize all of the opportunities that were left open for grabs by the companies that chose to pull back on or even quit their marketing altogether. And if you are one of these companies, you are going to have the opportunity to capture significant market share and take advantage of lower ad costs while you're doing it, because there's less demand, which actually drives advertising spend down. You see, marketing is a long game. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And so in addition to capturing abandoned market share, if you keep marketing, you are going to get such a head start on competitors, and it will be very challenging once the non-marketers emerge to even catch up with you. Now, if no one is buying, then it doesn't matter, right? Well, I say wrong. Of course, in a recession, there will be a lull in sales by some demographics, but even dormant customers research and make purchasing decisions long before they make the actual transaction. So companies that continued marketing and reaching consumers in the period when they couldn't make a purchase are the ones they will reach out to first when they can, because they're going to be top of mind. So you don't have to take my word for it. I wanted to lay out a few examples from over the last 100 years that will depict exactly what I'm talking about. So companies that marketed during economic downturns. First example, during the Great Depression, Post was the category leader in the ready-to-eat cereal category. They decided to cut back on their advertising budget while their rival, Kellogg's, doubled its advertising spend. They introduced their new cereal, Rice Krispie treats. They had this catchy, snap, crackle, pop phrase, and Kellogg's profits grew by 30%. They became the category leader, and they maintained that position for decades. So this is a prime example of getting that head start by marketing through these economic downturns. And it was something that just wasn't recoverable by Post. Now, McGraw-Hill ran a study on 600 businesses who continued to advertise during the early 1980s recessions, and they found that those businesses were 256% ahead of their competitors who didn't advertise. During the 1990-91 recession, McDonald's decided to drop its advertising and promotion budget. Pizza Hut and Taco Bell decided to seize this opportunity by increasing theirs, and it paid dividends to the tune of 61% increase in sales for Pizza Hut and 40% increase for Taco Bell, while McDonald's sales declined 28%. Last example, during the 2000 recession, Target increased its marketing and sales expenditures by 20% over pre-recession levels, which resulted in a 40% increase in sales and a 50% increase in profits over the course of the recession. So you might say, okay, Morgan, well, these are huge corporations and we don't have the marketing budgets of these companies, which is true, but you also don't have the demographic or niche of those organizations either. And with the right marketing strategy and appropriate budget that aligns with your demographic or niche, you could position yourself in the same types of favorable scenarios for your market. Now, there are tons of tips and strategy for marketing during an economic downturn that I could dive into, but for the sake of time, and I really want to get over to Joy as she has a lot of experience to share with us, I'm going to stick to 3 core things, okay? So first things first, target core customers. There's data that reflects that even a 5% increase in customer retention can increase company revenue by 25 to 95%. If anybody is going to make a purchase from you during tough economic times, it's your existing customers. Keep your business top of mind and prevent opportunities for other businesses to get their attention. Marketing customer loyalty programs with promotions or incentives are a strong tactic that will keep customers happy and buying. Not to mention that nurturing these relationships pays off because they have the power to influence purchasing decisions of potential new customers. Word of mouth and referrals is probably one of the best sources of business that you could have. Also, let's not forget that we can create opportunities for additional revenue streams by marketing and selling to existing customers other products and services that they don't already purchase from you. You already have their attention, their business, their loyalty, and it should be an easy target. Next is building brand awareness. A strong brand is the most valuable asset you can have in a recession. It's the best insurance policy you can buy. It's essential for standing out from competitors and for building trust with customers. Additionally, Marketing has a reflection on your organization as a whole. A company that is seen anywhere and everywhere is going to have a perceived higher value and legitimacy than a company that nobody's ever heard of. And when money is scarce, consumers are very careful how they spend their dollars and who they spend them with. People want to be sure they're buying from reputable and well-known brands for consumers today. Reputation and brand awareness are created and nurtured basically in the marketing realm. And this is where this is all starting. And that's why marketing is so important, especially during an economic downturn. Last strategy that I'm going to hone in on is to prioritize ROI-driven marketing. Now, marketing obviously requires, if you're in a recession, to be more cost efficient. So the idea here, though, is to maintain sales and revenue while we're being cost efficient. We don't want to slash the budget, but we want to optimize the media mix, and we want to invest in the channels that are performing well. And there's a ton of strategy, and I don't have time to get into it all, but if anybody's on the webinar today and they want to take more of a deep dive into this, I will post my contact information at the end. Please feel free to reach out to me if you just want to pick my brain, or if you have some questions, I would be happy to help. So for the time being, though, I wanted to point out the benefit of omni-channel marketing with digitally enhanced direct mail. This is the perfect marriage of both offline and online worlds, where the two can work together effectively to drive massive ROI, and in some of the most cost-effective ways possible. We know, I know the printers on the call today or on our webinar, we know what a powerful marketing channel direct mail is. The brand recall, response rates, high ROI. I'm a huge advocate for direct mail, and I could go on, but the primary purpose here is that we want to harness the power of that channel and repeat that message from the mail inexpensively across multiple channels. And doing this drives astronomical results. In fact, stats show purchase frequency is 250% higher on omni-channel versus single channel. So extremely powerful marketing strategy. And here at Direct Mail 2.0, we actually have a platform that does this, where we integrate up to 13 different technologies onto a direct mail campaign for pennies per mail piece. And printers all over the country white label our platform, and this has proven to be a significant revenue stream for them and a way to grow their business. So if you're interested in learning more about that or a platform, please reach out to me about that too. Next is the importance of leveraging data. By analyzing data on consumer behavior, you can make informed decisions on where to allocate your marketing budget and what messaging will resonate with your audience. And this can be taken from either internal CRM data or even smart pixel technology like our lead match pixel. We actually have a pixel in particular that identifies website visitors, how they got to the website, for example, which channel actually drove them there. It provides their contact information, their behavior on the site, so you can create some super targeted, personalized, and really high response rates by marketing to the right people at the right place at the right time and with the right message. And you also have the ability to track attribution from your marketing channels, which is super important in times of economic downturn because we have less budget, right? So by honing in on this data, you will know what is working and what isn't, and we can continuously improve our campaigns and our budget allocation. Last thing, for any of our partners that are interested in some key markets to solicit marketing services for, here's a list of industries that thrive during economic downturns. So I would be having your marketing and sales teams putting some extra attention on these verticals. Any of our partners on the call today, schedule a call with your MSC and let's do a strategy call on how we can put together a self-promo campaign and start reaching out to some of these verticals. So that's all I've got today, and I'm going to turn it over now to Brad and Joy.
Thank you so much, Morgan. Very good research. I've actually already had 2 or 3 people ask, are we going to share the deck? We always share the deck. We always share the video. Anyone that's interested, we will, anyone that registered will get a copy of the deck. So that's automatic with all of our webinar series. Another thing I wanted to mention, I don't know how many on here went to Inkjet Summit last week in Austin, but it was great. And we had some very esteemed industry experts that all sort of touted a very similar theme. One, upgrading your technology and your variable data print equipment, which obviously it's called Inkjet Summit. So that was foregone. However, another common theme was combining your print marketing with omni-channel marketing. It's if we paid them to say that, and we didn't. That was stressed by almost every expert that was speaking at that event, which was great because it drove a lot of interest in what we're doing. It's kind of like, I liken it back to the internet and having a website in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was like, okay, I need this. Do I not need this? Now, if you aren't doing it, you're actually behind the times. So this is now a product or a service that you almost have to have, which is great for business. I won't belabor that anymore. So let's get on to our esteemed guest here, Joy, who I already introduced. But I have some questions for her. She is obviously a leader in the industry of direct mail marketing. She does omni-channel marketing. She is very, very technology savvy. Everything in her shop, which is big. What do you have, Joy? 50, 60, 100,000 square feet now under roof?
No, probably about 78,000.
That's tiny. Huh? But what, 3 variable print machines there? And obviously you sell omni-channel marketing. So we are all of the same viewpoint here. But let's start with a formal question. So Joy, you have personally gone through the 2008, and experiencing this current downturn. In 2000, you were just starting out. You were a new business. You were what, 2 years old at that point. Can you tell us about how you navigated that? And you obviously excelled during that time. Can you take us back to that time period?
You know, what's really interesting is like, I don't even remember that it was an economic downturn in 2000. I know that after 9/11 happened in 2001, that was a little crazy after that. I don't recall like in 2000, when I was tiny, I just marketed like a psychopath, I just marketed way more than any sane person would think was like a normal amount to market. But yet that viewpoint from day one of running my company has gotten us to where we are today. And I mean, maybe not everybody knows who we are. I mean, I don't know what you know about PostcardMania, the people who are on who are listening, but I started in 1998. I've taken no capital from anybody. I grew PostcardMania, really bootstrapped it. We have about 350 staff now, and with postage, we'll break 100 million this year. Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty strong.
So when you first started out, you didn't really have any equipment. You would outsource your print jobs.
Yeah.
What was your first way you started marketing? When you first opened your doors in 1998, how did you get your first customer?
Postcards. I mean, when PostcardMania was formed, I grew out of, I had a small agency, and I had word of mouth business in our little neck of the woods here in Clearwater. And I'd been running that business for a few years, and I was trying to figure out, how could I scale this? How could I felt like I could never scale that type of business. I was brokering printing and doing graphic design work, and I had a handful of staff. And then when I formed PostcardMania, initially what we did is we bought a CD from Office Depot that had, it was like a Yellow Pages CD. And I didn't target by industry. I targeted geographically. I targeted US 19 and Gulf to Bay Boulevard 60 in our area. And then I kind of saw who responded to that marketing. I mean, I didn't know anything about marketing back then. I just knew that you had to get the word out, and you had to get it out in volume. That was what was real to me at that time. So, then I just started tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it. But I started mailing to promote PostcardMania from the first week PostcardMania existed. I always practice what I preach. I use multi-channel. I sell multi-channel marketing, omni-channel marketing. I use omni-channel marketing.
Excellent. You are definitely one that does what you preach, for sure, 1,000%. And I think that's one of the most authentic things. So
I should probably tell everybody, I mail 190,000 postcards to promote PostcardMania every single solitary week. And I've never missed a week. Of course, I didn't start with 190,000 pieces. Back then I did 1,000 pieces a week, then 2,500 pieces a week, then 5,000 pieces a week. But in 25 years, I honestly have never, ever, ever, ever missed a week. Hurricane, whatever's going on in the world, I never missed a week. COVID, never did I not send the mail. So
That is probably one of the most unique things that I've ever heard in terms of someone who's marketing their commercial print business. You know, that alone differentiates you from anything I've ever heard. And we talk to a lot of printers, and we've never met one.
I'm not a
that even-
commercial printer. I'm not a commercial.
No.
I am a marketer, and I'm a marketing. PostcardMania is a marketing company. We just print in house.
Right. Okay, you're
We
right.
don't sell commercial printing. We don't go out and sell commercial printing. We have, you know, we use 3 different stocks, and we have a handful of products, and that's it. You know, we don't custom, you know,
do custom jobs.
we don't do-
Right. So let me ask you, when you have customers that, you know, you've got a wide variety of customers in something like 100 and some different verticals, and they must talk to salespeople and they complain or say, hey, times are tough, you know, we're just not getting as many customers now, the money's tight, I'm cutting expenses. What do your sales team, how do they respond to that on the phones with your clients?
They generally will talk about what we've done and our successes in marketing through an economic downturn, because we practice what we preach. We can say, listen, this is what we did. And everything that Morgan was saying is like, we did exactly what she was saying. Literally, you know, during COVID, when all of our competitors were not marketing, like nobody was marketing, we were getting all the leads. So we didn't cut our marketing budget at all. I just basically didn't pay anything except payroll and marketing. That's the only thing I would spend money on, is payroll and marketing. And I just thought, you know, to hell with it. I will, if I have to dig into my reserves, I'll dig into my reserves. But right now, all ye vendors, they're all gonna just wait. So I just paid for marketing. So Google got my money, the US Postal Service got my money, and my payroll. And that was pretty much all I paid for that short period. It was about 5 weeks. And we basically, we were up 10% in 2020 because our competitors were not marketing. So we just tell this, that's what we say to the people calling us. We say, look, you're calling us on the phone. Obviously you have a need.
Right. And one of the things I know about you, because we've known each other for so long, I've never seen or known of you to do massive cost cutting or layoffs in the 30 years I've known you. When obviously sometimes things get tight, what have you done in tight times to cut costs? I mean, have you ever done anything?
I've never done anything. I just crossed my fingers and prayed. You know, recently in this last, you know, where we are right now today, we decided that we're going to automate as much as possible. I mean, that was another thing that you said was brought up, you know, at the show that you were at. What can we automate that, and we're not going to let people go, but we're going to automate certain positions that don't need a human on them. And when somebody leaves, we're not going to replace them. So we went from 369 staff to 335 staff, and we haven't missed a beat. And it's all from automation. We haven't let go. We didn't let anyone go. We just
attrition. It's like when people left, they just weren't replaced. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's a testament that is rarely heard. I mean, I'll be honest, I've had businesses with 50, 60 employees, and if there was a downturn, you know, we cut payroll, which was painful, but it was a necessary evil. You know?
There was, in 2008, we did have all the VPs, only the VPs, none of the staff, take a pay cut until we could get them back, and then we made them whole. So we did have the core people that, you know, that are here for life, that are all still here. Basically they were like, okay, I can live if you take this much out, you know, and then when we made them whole.
That makes total sense. So I'm starting to get a bunch of questions in, and I love these questions, guys. Please continue to post them in the Q&A, not in the chat, because then I'll mark them and bring them up. But I'm going to hold those to a little bit later once I get through some of the pre-written questions. All right. So the next question is, do you see or notice any difference between the landscapes today and the start of 2008, which I know from our personal exchanges, 2008 was difficult. Do you notice any similarities or differences that from your experience as a business person, business owner?
Well, my business is in a much different place now than it was in 2008. So I am in a much more stable place financially than I was in 2008. So for me, that one was a much harder economic downturn than this one. I'm not feeling this one personally at all. Our numbers were, okay, last year we were up 14% for the year. We're only about up 8% for the year right now. So, you know, it's like, I can't really complain about that. But in 2008, I had to review, I mean, I wasn't as sophisticated as I am now. So in 2008, I literally looked at my entire client base, and I realized that 46% of our customers in 2008 were mortgage brokers. So yeah. So we said, okay, who are we going to, what are we going to do? So that's the first time we said, who's searching for us on Google? So we went through our entire database and we looked at who's finding us via Google. What are the industries they're in? What are the marketing campaigns that we're going to now do to those industries specifically, to bolster, those other industries up to where mortgage was. So we were down in 2009 about 15%. It's honestly the only year in my history that we were down revenue-wise. And in 2010, we then hit another highest ever, over 2008, by just diversifying our marketing.
Great, that's really, really good advice. Are you guys currently investing in any new technology? And if so, what? Presses, infrastructure to further automate your business?
Oh, these are good questions. And if I had my senior exec team here, they'd be going, don't answer that question. Yes.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. I mean, there are competitors on there, so I understand.
I can tell you what we're doing. It's totally fine. I'm happy to share. There's so much business out there. One of the things about me that's probably different than most business owners is like, I am willing to share whatever, because even if there's like 100 of you listening to me right now, and I don't know how many people are on this call, but let's say there's 100 people listening to me right now, maybe there'll be like 2 that will actually try to do what I'm actually going to say. So I'm not too concerned. Go for it. What we're doing now is we're investing in PCM, or PostcardMania integrations, and that's our API and e-commerce area, where we are connecting to other sellers, let's say, or doing an API with other sellers that are selling data perhaps. And we probably have about 40 active partners now that are selling direct mail, and we're providing it, and we're providing all the infrastructure for it. So
that's fantastic. And that there's a lot of work that goes into building that. So I understand. And I did want to bring up a little story of a conversation I had with Joy. I think it was almost 20 years ago at this point.
Oh my God, I don't know what it is.
Well, no, you'll remember when I tell you.
Okay.
I think it was one of our local friends was asking you about the postcard marketing business, and because they wanted to start their own. And I came to you and I said, Joy, explain why you're helping someone in our own community here be a competitor against you. I was just so perplexed by this openness. I called you directly, and you're like, there's so much business there, why not help someone? Honestly, I'm far enough ahead where I'm not worried, and I want to pay back. And it was such a mind-blowing viewpoint for me. It actually changed my way of doing business, because I used to be like other guys. I'm not telling you what you're doing. You can't know what I'm doing. It's all secret. And I've gone completely the other direction, and it's so freeing. I don't know.
I had no idea that I impacted you with that, honestly.
Hugely. And I think it was about almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, it was probably I think we were on MLK at that time. So I think we moved into this building in 2009, and we moved into that building in 2006. So it was probably like 18 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you're right, because my youngest brother and I, in our legacy business, we used to argue about security and privacy and what we said. And it just drove me crazy how security conscious he was.
There's like 30 million companies in this.
I know.
In the US. I only have 112,000 of them or something like that. I don't know, 109 or whatever it is. So it's like there's so much business out there for everybody. you know, to succeed.
And honestly, if you can duplicate and exceed my business based on what I'm telling you, well, then you deserve it.
And you deserve it.
And I deserve the fate of not being able to compete. So, you know, anyways, I just wanted to point that out. We'll go to the next question. We've got a growing list of questions coming on the Q&A, so I want to try to get through as much as we can. What channels for marketing have you found most or more effective during a downturn? And did you change anything in how you acquire new customers? You sort of mentioned that when you stopped marketing for new mortgage customers during a downturn. Anything in terms of channels or marketing technologies?
Well, you know, back then there was only direct mail. So there was no change in technology. Now, I am such a big believer in direct mail. I will never cut the mail. I don't even care if you can attribute more of our business or more of our leads from, you know, Google or PPC or whatever it is. I will never, ever, ever, ever cut the mail. We have found that when we have cut the mail, we did it twice in our history by not a lot, but we cut the mail, business goes down. And then we quickly put it back. It's happened twice. And that's what happened, you know, in the COVID situation was just that, I mean, I'm sending out 190,000 postcards. That's a chunk of change. That's a chunk of change every single solitary week.
I'm sure everyone on this call could do the math in their head on what that's costing.
And somebody on my team, very high on my team, looked at me and said, I think we should maybe, you know, for a few weeks. And I just gave them the death stare. You know? I just looked at them and I was like, no. And I honestly, it was the most stressed out I ever was those 5 weeks. And I realized, you know, I just went, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to cut the mail. In terms of multi-channel, I am so passionate about multi-channel marketing that I have programs not only for my customers to how am I going to increase my customer database of users of omnichannel. It's probably about 25% only. And it drives me insane because I know that my clients are small business owners for the most part, small to medium. And I know that if they succeed, they can improve the economy. They're hiring more people. They're not laying off people. They're spending money, the money that will go into the economy if they win. And so omnichannel not only helps my company. I mean, I would never cut my omnichannel. I would never change that in any economic downturn because all of it matters. And you can't really pinpoint one piece of technology that outperforms another piece of technology. It's the combination of those ads, the direct mail, always the direct mail, and because the direct mail adds legitimacy. It's like something that they're holding in their hand. You can never do it without direct mail. So when if you're talking to clients and you're afraid, oh, if I bring up omnichannel, what do I need direct mail for? I'm going to just go online. No, they'll slit their own throat. And you need to understand that for yourself. You should be doing it for your own business so that you can live it, so that when you live it, you can sell it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Listen, you're preaching to the choir here. I'm hoping everybody else is listening here.
I know, right?
All right, let me go to the next question, which I could probably answer myself, but
Okay.
I'll let you answer it. What would you say are the most important hires during a recession or a downturn?
I mean, do you want to answer it? I mean, my it's always sales and marketing for me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You pretty much already answered that a few times. All right.
This time also technology. I mean, we're it's really interesting. It's like all these tech companies are laying people off because during the COVID year and a half when people were home, or the 2 years that people were working from home, all this technology came up and now they have to go back to normal because people are kind of back to normal now. So it sounds like they're just laying people off, but it's really, they're just going back to like normal life. We really didn't change. Fortunately for us, we were deemed essential and we were able to stay open, and, plus we're in Florida. So those two things together were very, fortunate for PostcardMania. In other cities and countries, it was not like that. If you weren't a mail house, if you're not a mail house, you were not necessarily deemed essential. So, it's just really, we were just really, really fortunate. And now there's all this tech personnel out there, and we're like, scoop them now, you know?
Yeah.
Get the
Which,
good ones.
they're not cheap, but
No.
I agree. Investing in technology and sales and marketing are the three biggest things you can be doing. You know, the technology investment may take a little longer to pay off. You don't always hit a home run with every sales guy you hire, and you have to keep rotating through them. So, and marketing is a constant trial and error, you know, so there's.
I mean, it's a constant trial and error, but you know, you do find what works for you. Like for us, yes, we test new ideas, and sometimes they're, you know, bombs and they don't work, but we've been doing it. Once you've been doing it for so long, you know what message resonates with your target market, and you've tested everything. And, you know, it's like you can kind of glom onto a winner, and it lasts for quite a long time.
Absolutely, which is a perfect segue into a question from John. I will not butcher your last name in pronouncing it, but he is the managing director of the Wisconsin Direct Marketing Association, and he is a big proponent of testing. And you talk about testing. He says here, while you're presenting, I looked at your case studies, and I looked at dozens and dozens on your website. I do not see any which suggest genuine testing or incremental effects. Why not? He is.
I'll tell you why not. I mean, we're dealing with small business owners. We're dealing with companies. When we're talking to them on the phone, it's like we're not dealing with these big, large enterprise companies that have ad agencies and budgets. We're just trying to get them to do something, to do anything. So it's like, we're not going to go like, we're going to test this and test that and see which one's better. We're just like, no, this is your best opportunity to get a result. Do you want to do it? You know, once in a while we do tests with more sophisticated companies, but most of our customers are not sophisticated enough to want to spend the money to test.
I get it. I understand. It is not an easy thing to do. All right, so we won't belabor that point. I have a bunch of questions. John Cassidy says, and again, this is, if this is too much behind the curtains, you are free to say that. He has, I'm curious to know if postage is a revenue generator for PCM or just a pass-through cost. It would be interesting to see what other companies are doing this line item on there as well.
Okay, so I'm happy to be transparent about this. PostcardMania is what's called full service. I don't know who out there is if you're a direct mail company and you are a mail house, then you might know what full service is. We were the first company in Pinellas County to be full service. All that means is that we implemented certain things for the post office so that everything is done on site. And when we put everything in the truck to go to the actual post office, the mail has already been cleared. And they give you a discount for that. So we make money that way. We make money by commingling. If you don't know what that is, you basically give all your mail over to Pitney Bowes or some other vendor, and they put it through these. If you've not seen these commingling machines, they're insane. They're like, you know, I could never have a commingling machine on the space for it, but they separate all the mail by all the offset mail by zip code, and then there's a bump in the, you know, we make some money that way. We make money on drop shipping. We tell them what the postage, like if we drop ship to a certain zip code where the mail, if it's all like a 5-digit or a 3-digit, we drop ship there and we wind up making money that way. So we say, okay, we process the list. We say, this is what your postage is. They pay the money for the postage. And then we figure out how we're going to make more money on that postage. So that's basically how we do it. And there are certain very small jobs or anything that's done through the API that is like, okay, it's all done, you know, online. And it's like, we have to come up with an average amount when we haven't really seen the list yet, and they have to pay in advance. And sometimes we make a couple pennies here and there on that. So all in all, with the amount of mail that we send out, it's a decent amount of money, you know?
Yeah. I would imagine. So if you're clearing a couple of percentage points or a couple pennies per piece, it's not a make or break of the business, but it's a nice little extra padding. So thank you for that.
Worth all the effort. It's worth all the effort we put into everything that we've done. Yeah.
All right. Another question. How do you see AI playing a part in the evolution of direct mail or what you do?
We are toying with a lot of AI on the design and copy side. That is where AI is actually okay right now. We've done a lot of tests and it's not accurate enough to use it completely. But fortunately for me, I have a lot of very tech forward employees that are just going, every company that's out there right now that's using AI on a subscription basis, the free ones, yeah, we're testing it all, but it's, we're testing one right now that builds landing pages and presentations. And it took like literally minutes to build a landing page. I can't remember what the company's called. Happy to share it with you guys. If you do that, we build websites and landing pages. We do all the digital stuff for our clients as well. I mean, yes, we mail, what is it, like 4 million pieces a week or something like that. But we do all the digital stuff too. So we're using it on that side, on the creative side.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, I believe it's going to become a bigger and bigger part. There are people that will provide very targeted solution for different parts of the marketing chain or marketing channel or delivery, and everyone will be using it within a few years in some way or another. What about the Chat GPT? Do you guys ever use it to help write copy or any of the things?
They're using Jasper, and there's other ones. I used ChatGPT to plan a trip to Denmark that I'm going to in August, and it literally saved me so much time. I mean, so for that it was really good, but you can't really, there's reasons why you can't have it write your copy. First of all, Google knows if you're putting that copy online, Google knows that AI wrote the copy, and they basically penalize you for that ranking wise. So it's good to get an outline and to have something to start with and something to edit, but you really do need to personalize, customize it. Can't really just do it as is. And you have to double check. It tells lies. It tells lies.
Yeah.
We asked AI who are Lob's customers. Like, we wanted to know who Lob's customers were, and it gave us like a whole list, and we were like, great, we're going to act on this list. Yeah. And then we said, wait a minute, we asked AI, who are PostcardMania's customers? And it gave lies, but it listed it very convincingly of who our customers were. It's not true, right. So we looked at it, we just started cracking up. We went, okay, so AI is whatever. I mean, we were like, is it going to go to our website and go to our case study page and find, like, is it like, we didn't know.
How does it do it? Right.
How does it do it? So no. So we don't trust it. We don't trust it to write anything. Yeah.
There's a lot of that going on. I don't disagree. It's going to take some more time.
Yeah.
Rachel Raber asks, can you talk about the types of offers or messages that you have noticed get the best responses via print marketing?
Yes, but it's also by industry. The offers really depend on the industry. So I have a catalog of, you could probably download it if you want to download it. I have to find it on my website. I don't have it, I don't know the link off the top of my head. Brad maybe could provide it to people, but we have a download of I don't know, it's a PDF with by industry, tons and tons and tons and tons of offers that we literally took off our postcards and offered to anybody who wants to see what they are. So I'm happy to share that with you, but it's really by industry. Like, dentists have certain offers that work. Roofers have certain offers that work. So
good. Here's an interesting one. It's labeled anonymous. It says, what are the first 3 things you do in the morning when you arrive to the office?
I don't arrive to the office in the morning.
All right. Well, whenever you arrive. It's very transparent.
First 3 things I do in the morning. Okay, when I start working, you mean? Okay.
I guess, yeah.
Yes, I guess, because my morning is the first thing I do is just get on my email and see what can I get done before my bike ride. That's basically my morning. I would say that I first go through what I didn't finish yesterday and see if I can wrap any of that up. A lot of times what I'll do, I get a lot of communication because I have several businesses and I just have a lot going on. So the first thing I want to do is look at what I didn't complete from the day before from my battle plan or my to-do list. And complete those things in the early morning when nobody's bothering me or talking to me or trying to get my attention. And then once that's done, I go and delete all the emails that came in the middle of the night.
You don't need to respond to.
That I don't need to respond to. I bulk delete to clean up my inbox. I look at my calendar to see what's on my calendar for the day so that I can organize my morning. Hope that helps. I don't know.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
mean, it's kind of boring, but if you're looking for something a little more inspirational, I can tell you that I do make a decision as the very first part of my day, the very first thing in the morning. I make a decision that it's going to be an awesome day, and then I'm going to get a lot done. I kind of like, I'm very big into like projecting what the day is going to be like and kind of manifesting what I want the day to be like, so that I start off on the right foot.
That's great advice.
Mm.
Bob Byers asked, and I'm not totally sure, maybe you know what this means. How much match back reporting are you doing? I mean, I can interpret that a few different ways.
I mean, are they talking about lead match? What are they talking
I
about?
don't know.
You're gonna have to give us.
You're muted, but we need
I
some help.
think what he's talking about is, are your customers giving you end unit conversion data, leads into their CRM, final dollars, and are you matching that back to the mailing list?
If they'll do it with us, yes.
John
I mean,
says attribution, yeah.
Yeah.
Not all clients or partners
We'll
do it.
allow.
Even when we've asked for it, sometimes they don't.
Yeah,
So,
we've done, I mean, we have done lots of that for customers. When they ask us to do it, we do it. There is a way also, we've built some kind of an ROI tool on our website where our customers, I don't know if it's on our website or if it's in my PostcardMania, it's in our extranet site for our customers. They can upload their list, whether they provided it or whether we provided it, and they can upload their customer list, and they don't have to upload the list. They only have to upload their customer list, and we can match it back to the mailing list.
makes sense.
Yeah, some kind of automated process we created for them.
Here's a little bit of a financial question. He asks, do you see your average order size go up or down during a downturn? So are you having to get more smaller orders, or are you?
Good question, John Cassidy.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. I would say right now, we just saw our average order size go down slightly, but it's not because of the economy. It's because we offered a lower cost product that I'm going to take away from my, from our offering. I'm going to get rid of it because it created, like, my customer base will go to the cheapest thing they can do. So by offering this lower priced product, that's what they're kind of gravitating towards. So it lowered our overall thing. So we're going to get rid of that.
Makes total sense.
I haven't really noticed. I honestly, for an economic downturn perspective, we handle each client very individually, and we are always pushing for the biggest campaign possible, because we know that volume is everything. We know that, like, it's quantity first and then quality, and so we're always pushing volume.
Interesting. All right. I will not butcher this name, but this gentleman asked, what is the file format you seek your customers when you plan a variable data print campaign? I guess this is when you ingest it through your web store, or
Yeah, we can take HTML, we can take PDF. We're every time we see what the market is wanting to be able to give us, we handle it technologically.
You provide that.
We provide that, yeah. So it doesn't really matter. It used to matter, but now we can take whatever.
Good. And the second part is, do you analyze the raw data that comes in, or is it something you expect your client will do and you just ingest it? I mean, I'm assuming they're talking about when you take in an order electronically, do you analyze that data, or do you hope that your client's doing that? I would assume that if the data is bad, there will not be an output of a print campaign.
Exactly. So if
there'll be an error.
Yeah, basically there'll be an error. And what's really different about us industry wide, and anyone that's doing the API, is that we have customer service people. So if something is, you can always get someone on the phone at PostcardMania to walk you through stuff, which is very unusual.
Good. All right, here's another one from Mr. John Cassidy. So some maybe prospects watching this and seeing that Joy is an investor and owner in DM2O, that could cause some apprehension from the point of sharing client data with PostcardMania. So we get this question a lot.
Can I speak to this? Can I speak to
You're gonna definitely speak to it.
Can I just speak to this?
I'll speak to it too.
I'll speak to it. I first of all, we're on totally separate systems. Like I don't even have a key to Brad's office. Like
You don't have a login to our
I don't have
platform.
a login. I don't
Yeah.
have a login. I'm so far removed from DM 2.0. I mean, my biggest connection to DM 2.0 is that Brad's a really old friend of mine and he's the CEO. That's my connection to DM 2.0. It's not, I can understand why it's a concern, but the truth of the matter is, we get 3,000 brand new leads every single week at PostcardMania. I need not go after other people's business. My salespeople, my 40 something plus salespeople can barely keep up with the influx of leads. So yeah, I understand the question.
I do too.
Have
And
the same
I understand the concern. They see, well, PostcardMania is a big direct mail marketing group, and a lot of people have heard of you and you do a lot of volume. What better way to steal customers from other printers than just go into our platform? And
Well,
I understand the concern.
I understand it, but it's like, if you knew me, you would know that that's like the last thing on earth I even want to do in my heart of hearts. It's like it's not even in my universe.
And from a legal perspective, we have contractual agreements with each one of our partners with confidentiality clauses.
You do not share with any partners,
It's all
data.
buttoned up, via our legal agreements, and we all have morals and integrity here too. So
I agree. I mean, part of it is, obviously there are some bad apples in the world, but for the most part, people are basically good. And it's that small minority that would do something as disingenuous and criminal as that. And I know for a fact that the 3 people you're looking at right now do fall into the category of decent people that would never do that or allow each other to do it. Should one even have an off day and think it was a good idea? So it's not happening. It never will. And I appreciate the concern. And I'm more than happy to have a one-on-one conversation with anybody that would need any more reassurance on that point. So it's not an issue.
Same.
All right. One last question, unless things, oh gosh, have you got more in here? John says again, we struggle with finding people that get it, what the right team member looks like when hiring new salespersons. So that we can actually sell omnichannel. Maybe this is a topic for future webinar, but how do you find the right people?
Oh, okay.
He says maybe we do a whole webinar on that, but
yeah, I mean, we are not being that picky. We are looking for salespeople that can sell and close a sale, and then we train them. We train them to sell it. And training is of the essence. I mean, training is ongoing constantly at PostcardMania. So we will take someone who sold solar and has no idea about print or marketing, and we will train them in 6 weeks. They've already been taking calls, but they have someone listening in on the calls and coaching them. And it takes about 6 weeks until they're fully through training and on a team. And we train them. And that's the only answer I can give you.
I agree, and that makes sense. And if someone doesn't cut it or they aren't achieving certain benchmarks, then they're out. It's
heavy on the hire, and don't worry about losing people. Just let them go if they're not going to make it.
That makes sense. Good. Another anonymous. You mentioned not stopping your direct mail marketing during a downturn. Can you talk a little bit about what your sales team does specifically during the downturn in terms of, do they outflow more? Do you drop prices? Do you discount? Do you do anything like that?
No, actually, since we don't stop our overall company outflow, the leads actually are fine. There's always companies that are growing. If you listen to the media, if you watch the news, you think everybody's dying out there, and it's not true. There are lots of businesses out there that are thriving, and those are either those people or the people who are not going to sit back and, the entrepreneurs, business owners are going to sit back and die because the news says they're going to. They basically are calling in. All our leads are inbound leads. We outflow with direct mail, and omni-channel, and then the leads call in. Those 3,000 leads a week are reaching in and they're interested. If somebody picks up the phone or fills out a form online, they are interested, and our salespeople take the stance that they need this product and service, and that's what, and we're going to be the best option for them. And that's sort of like the mindset. So
Good, thank you. One last customer question from Mr. Mark Hale. What characteristics do you look for when hiring salespeople?
hi, Mark. Mark's a friend. Hi, Mark, and congratulations on your recent achievement. Anyway, what characteristics are we looking for? We are looking for people with on the phone experience. We have hired people that go door to door because that's harder, we feel, than to get on the phone. But we don't hire people that are salespeople that are like relationship builders types of salespeople, you know, that have to, like, account manager types. We hire salespeople, people who are going to actually go for the close, people who are going to treat it not like I'm going to educate you. I am going to educate you, but I'm going to educate you. I'm going to make you comfortable, and then I'm going to get your credit card. That's how we train. So
I mean, that's about as direct as you can be. All right, good. So this is the last question. We're almost out of time. I like to end these on time so people can get back to their busy life. So Joy, as a parting question, you've had some incredible growth and expansion over the last 25 years. This is your 25th year, right?
June, we're going to have a giant party. We're going to have like a blowout giant party.
Are we invited? DM2O, that is?
Of course, come to the party.
You're
You're invited to my personal home, Brad.
Yeah, that's true.
Come to anything.
What parting words or words of wisdom could you provide the people still on that would help them most? If you had to condense down the best advice into one sentence or 2 or 3 bullet points, what would it be?
Okay, so first of all, I'm speaking to my people. These are people who are selling, marketing, and printing, correct? So practice what you preach, practice what you're trying to sell. Make sure that you're promoting your own company the same way you're trying to get your clients to do with you. Because if you're sincere in your approach to these people, because you're doing it yourself, then your salespeople are going to be much more pumped about selling it because they're going to be very confident in its efficacy. So that's number one. I find that, you know, printers, marketing companies are like the cobbler whose children has no shoes. It's just important that you promote yourself. So that's probably number one. Number two is getting educated yourself on how this omni-channel works. Get as much education as possible yourself. Then make sure that your salespeople get educated. If you keep putting it over to some expert that's going to know it better than you, you're never going to feel really causative over incorporating it into your business model. So I think if you understand it and you get yourself educated as a marketer, you're going to be much more confident in selling it. I think that's probably advice.
Great. I think it's great advice. I mean, one thing I'd like to add that I think that you've done very well, you're very good at picking the right people. You have an amazing executive leadership team that helps you there. And your organization is finely tuned with 25 years of experience of selling print and marketing. You know, you've learned a lot along the way, more than most. So, you know, having a good team behind that obviously helps forward those goals and keeps you moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody ever wants to talk to me about that, I mean, I have people that have been with me for, the president of my company
25 years.
25 years, and I've had 23 years, 22 years, 19 years. I mean, my executive team, I can talk about that. I mean, I could talk about that. Why are they staying with me? Why? Yes. How? Yeah.
Exactly. So I wanted to put that out there because I know you're humble for the most part.
For the most part.
Anyways, let's wrap it up. Morgan, thank you very much. Joy, a big thank you to you. Please, Morgan, you want to give a final pitch or commercial here that
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, thank you so much, Joy, for joining us today. That was, you know, very, very enlightening, ton of experience. I personally got a lot out of it. So, but if anybody has any more questions about marketing, or you're interested in our white label platform or more information on that, I just wanted to put our contact information up here. quick QR code, if you want to scan that real quick with your phone, goes over to our website, book a demo. We'd be happy to talk with you and talk about more how we might be able to help you grow your business with our platform.
All right, Joy, Morgan, thank you very much, you guys. That was great. Yeah, what
I have
Joy
a
has a
question.
final word.
Not a final word. There's like all these people that are chatting to me. Can you save this so I can answer
Yeah,
them?
yes, that will all be saved and we'll
Okay.
send it to you.
I didn't
So,
know that during the
Yeah,
call.
it is.
Okay.
So John Cassidy, who had 4 or 5 questions, says, thank you so much. Really appreciate the transparency and all the information.
My
So,
pleasure. My pleasure. Happy to help.
all right, guys, have a great afternoon. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.